Hi, folks. Welcome back. Dennis Fetosa, also known as Def Noodles. And today we're going to be talking about a friend of the show, not really, Rabbi Shmuley. Now, for anybody who's not aware, Rabbi Shmuley is an American Orthodox Jewish rabbi, author, and media personality who refers to himself as America's rabbi. Sure, bro. He's widely recognized for his public advocacy for Israel, his extensive writings on relationships, and his past associations with high-profile celebrities like Michael Jackson. So much so that there's an entire conspiracy surrounding him and Michael Jackson, and Michael's death that we could probably make a whole video on. But that's all completely beside the point. In our last video on Rabbi Shmuley, we looked at how the rabbi is basically the equivalent of a race hustler for anti-Semitism. He's like an Al Sharpton for Jews, right? He goes around the world, and I'm not even exaggerating here, baiting people into confronting him, and then he turns around and cries anti-Semitism at every situation. That's exactly what we saw in the last coverage we did of him on Piers Morgan. He got into an argument with somebody in Iceland over what he claimed were anti-Semitic remarks when the guy basically just said, fuck Israel. But that's usually what people like Rabbi Shmuley do. They end up turning even the slightest criticism of Israel into a claim of anti-Semitism. Anyway, things apparently haven't been going too well for the rabbi out in Iceland because he was recently confronted by people there who are very openly telling him exactly what they think about him. This is the clip.
You are not welcome. Go. Stop Israel. Stop Israel. Hey, he's not welcome. 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 He is not welcome. He is not welcome.
Han är referenterna. Han är bara Israel. Ja. Nej. Tack är välkommen. Tack är välkommen. You are not welcome here. Please leave. Please leave. Please leave. No. We just said you're not welcome. That's the only thing we said.
Now, as you may have noticed, there weren't really any blows exchanged. They were basically just telling him, you are not welcome here. And Rabbi Shmuley immediately went on the offensive, claiming that he had been attacked in some kind of way. Needless to say, I think we all saw the video. He was not attacked. Nothing of the sort even happened. Rabbi Shmuley was perfectly fine, just standing there in the middle of the bar. In fact, he was filming everything that was transpiring on his own phone. But again, this is one of his tactics. He will often appeal to some kind of victimhood. And by the way, people are totally entitled to protest Rabbi Shmuley if they dislike him or don't want him in their country, as long as they're following the law and not doing what he claims they're doing. I think it's perfectly fine. Obviously, the video is also completely out of context. At one point, you see Rabbi Shmuley turn the camera on himself and say that they had just attacked him or whatever it is. And look, here's the thing. If you're going to run around the world doing this kind of thing, people are totally entitled to confront you in the manner in which these folks did. Ironically enough, they're at a gay bar, so it seems. There were a bunch of pride flags in there. But either way, this isn't where Rabbi Shmuley's troubles ended, because shortly afterward, another video of him started making the round. According to the original poster, Hats Off on X, resurfaced footage captured Rabbi Shmuley dancing on the child's lap. He stopped immediately after spotting the camera. Truly bizarre stuff. Here's a clip. Now, look, I want to be charitable here, but this is strange, okay? It's very strange. And look, the context is obvious. They're at a kid's party. I don't know what this child situation is. I don't know if he's got nephews or children or whatever it is. I don't know who these children are. So, full charitability here. This is clearly a child's party. And just looking at it objectively, the child seemed to be having fun. But it's still bizarre to be doing this in the middle of a party while holding a glass of wine filled to the brim and while being clearly intoxicated. I mean, the whole thing, the most off-putting part to me is really the level of intoxication and everything that he's doing in the video paired with that. The man is singing along to a song at a children's party in the middle of it by himself, just blasted, barely holding it together. That's strange, okay? That's objectively strange. And whatever he's doing with that child, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and speculate. It's strange as well. Even though the child, like I said, seemed to be laughing along with it. It's strange. It's all weird. And it didn't make things any better for him when another video from the same party was shared shortly afterward. So now we've got this man not only blasted, clearly intoxicated, but also hip thrusting around children. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like any part of it. It's so bizarre, so weird. And you have to think somebody close to him probably leaked this. Who leaked this? Who put this out there? Somebody close to him didn't approve of his behavior and put this out there. I mean, listen, it's all very strange. It's beyond bizarre. Anyway, outside of these disturbing videos, there's another one that's also been making the rounds. This one was actually posted earlier yesterday and shows Rabbi Shmuley directly calling out what he describes as the enemies of Israel, and he actually provides a prescription for what should be done to these so-called enemies. And you're going to recognize some of the names he mentions.
Let me be clear. For thousands of years, we Jews have developed an insidious mental construct that we need to be loved. We need everyone to like us. Now, that would be nice. Machiavelli said 500 years ago in Florence that you should want to be loved and feared. But if you have to choose, and October 7th has forced us to choose, then you need to choose being feared over being loved. The Jewish people have to be feared. Hamas has to fear the IDF. Hezbollah and disgusting, poisonous, reptilian Iran has to fear the Mossad. Just think about this for a moment. When Israel goes in the heart of Tehran and kills Ismail Haniyeh, and I feel really bad for him, because if I had $4 billion, I wish I could have lived longer and bought more hot tubs and more, Gulfstream 6s and all that wasted money now, which his children are now suing Erdogan for. When you do that in the heart of Tehran, what do you think Khamenei himself is thinking? He's thinking, uh-oh, I'm next. These Jews actually fight back. The same thing is true in media. Why aren't we going after the Candace Owens of the world, the most disgusting reptilian anti-Semite in America? Why aren't we going after Roger Waters? Why aren't we going after Tucker Carlson? President Trump, who spoke here at the IAC the other day as the most pro-Israel president in American history, what the heck is he doing with Tucker Carlson in his ear? Tucker Carlson's a Holocaust denier. Tucker Carlson just had a historian on, 42 million people watched it, who said the Holocaust, he's not a Holocaust denier. He admits that 6 million Jews died, but it wasn't a program of genocide. They were like prisoners of war. They died of disease. Cut the crap and stop desecrating the memory of our 6 million. And no American president, whether it's Biden or George Bush or greatest president for Israel, Trump, should be having people like that. And we have to go after the Tucker Carlsons of this world. I am tired of being a scared Jew. I am tired of quaking and shivering and trembling before our enemies. We are going to bring the fight to our enemies.
Now, I want to add some context here, folks. All these clips we've been watching are of a religious leader. Okay, remember, his title is rabbi. He's supposed to be a teacher, a theological and religious teacher. And number one, you saw him dancing inappropriately while just completely blasted around children, and now you're seeing him make calls to violence, not only against military, terrorists, and militia forces in the Middle East, but also toward American podcasters for their opinions and criticisms of Israel, those being Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. He also mentions Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, who's been a vocal critic of Israel and has stood with the Palestinian cause for many, many years. And then he brings up President Trump. Ironically enough, this is one of the things that many conservatives, especially on the dissident right, have been very upset with President Trump about, just how much he's acquiesced to Israel. But clearly, it's not enough for Rabbi Shmuley. He's demanding more. He's saying he doesn't want any more of the quiet Jewish person. He wants the fight. He wants to bring the fight. And again, context matters here. This is a religious leader making these calls. Imagine if the Ayatollah made these calls. Obviously, I'm not saying that Rabbi Shmuley pairs one-to-one with the Ayatollah, but imagine if a Muslim religious leader made this kind of call. This would be all over the news, right? Imagine if a Christian leader made this call. This would also be all over the news. If the Pope ever made this sort of call, which he never would, because the Pope usually calls for the opposite. So much so that the Pope got shit on for making calls to peace between Iran, America, and Israel, and he received a lot of pushback for calling for peace. Meanwhile, here we have a rabbi who seems very comfortable making these calls to violence. And again, we're not even talking exclusively about the geopolitical enemies of Israel. He's talking about specific podcasters in America, Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, whose criticisms are protected by the First Amendment. He's calling for a foreign government to take care of them. And under the context of everything Rabbi Shmuley has been describing in this clip so far, he's been talking about military action, what Israel has been doing towards Hamas and their enemies. And then he says, take them out. We have to take them out. So you have to assume he's calling for assassinations, right? That's what it sounds like. Obviously, this is all in the land of interpretation here. You can interpret it in whatever way you choose. In context, I am personally choosing to interpret it like this. To me, this is a death threat towards Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. This is a threat of violence that he's issuing here. And I don't think anybody should take it lightly. Not that Rabbi Shmuley would personally do anything, but there are crazy people out there who would probably take him at his word, right? We've seen it happen before. We've seen the increase in political violence throughout the country and the world. And you can have this argument, tit for tat, left or right, wherever you think it's coming from. It's just an increase in political violence, period. But he is very evidently calling here for violence against these two podcasters. And I think this should be admonished by everybody. This man is not a serious person. And I'm not saying he's not serious about the threats. I'm saying he's not a serious person. If he were part of my community, I would be calling him out. If he were a religious leader in the Catholic Church, I would be calling him out for making calls to violence against podcasters. But that's just me. Anyway, folks, you tell me what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Share it with a friend if you think they'll enjoy it as well. I'll see you again at the next one. Have a terrific day. Peace.